How are the books in the Bible divided? The first 5 books of the Bible is Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, which is called the law or Torah, which means teaching or law. The next set of books is Joshua to Esther, which is called the historical books. It contains the history of Israel, how it became a nation, and includes how they flourished and fell. Here is the outline of these historical books. Joshua is about the capture and settlement of the Promised Land. Judge is about the nation of Israel is rescued by a series of judge or military leaders. 3 of the best-known deliverers were Deborah, Gideon, and Samson. 1 to 2 Samuel is about early history of Israel, including the reign of Saul and David. 1 to 2 King is about a political history of Israel, focusing on the reign of selected kings from the time of Solomon to the captivity of the Jewish people by the Babylonians. 1 to 2 Chronicles is about a religious history of Israel, covering the same period as 2 Samuel and 1 to 2 Kings. Ezra is about the return of the Jewish people from the captivity in Babylon to Jerusalem. Nehemiah is about rebuilding of the walls of Jerusalem after the Jewish exile returned from the Babylon. Esther, God's care for his people under Gentile rule. Job, Psalm, Proverb, Ecclesiastes, Song of Solomon is more poetic, and they emphasize wisdom and knowledge for life. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentation, Ezekiel, Daniel are the major prophets. Hosea to Malachi is the minor prophets. Next is the New Testament. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are the gospel. These 4 books are written about Jesus' life and are written from these individuals' perspective. Acts is a standalone book. It's about how the church started to or began and how it grew. Romans to Philemon is Paul's letter. It was either addressed to churches or individual. From Hebrews to Judge were general letters written by James, Peter, John, and Jude. Revelation is the prophecy book. This book is the divine revelation given to John from Jesus. So to summarize, the Bible, the Old Testament includes the first 5 books, which was Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Number, and Deuteronomy, followed by a historical book, which is Joshua to Esther, then the poetry wisdom books from Job to Song of Solomon. Then there are major prophets, which is Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentation, Ezekiel, and Daniel. Then there are the minor prophets, which is Hosea to Malachi. The New Testament has the gospel, which is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Then the historical book, Acts, which talks about the early churches and how it grew. Followed by Paul's letter, which is from Romans to Philemon. Then the general letter, which is from Hebrews to Judge. Then the last book is the prophecy book, which is Revelation, and talks about the second coming of Christ.